Okay, so we've got both our front hubs done now. So that's our right front here and our left front there. Move them up the back, and now comes into play our rear arms. So what we need is our drive shaft. So this is our aluminium dog bone with the 44mm. So one bearing on the back, push that into place. Bearing on the front, push that into place, and then our drive hex. Again you have to twist it until that flat spot lines up, and then it'll drop in like so. So you have to be careful of that. If you don't use the O-rings, I mean, you don't have to put the O-rings on, but when you change tyres, there is a chance that you're going to have that hex, or the little flat spots aren't going to line up when you go to put your wheel back on. So the little O-ring just basically keeps everything in position so that you got less stress when you're changing tyres, and it also stops the aluminium hex from disappearing into the dirt if you're pitting somewhere outside, and that's always a good thing. Alright, so that's in. So yeah, like I was explaining before, what can happen is if you take your wheel off, the hex can come away, and then it's not located in, and then if you do your wheel up, you're actually not going to have any drive in this wheel. Well, potentially it'll drop in here, and then your wheel will actually be loose. So you've got to make sure that you push them together and then twist it when it's in the hub, and you'll feel it lock into place. Exactly the same as our front with the pin going in. So this is the rear of the arm. This is where our shock is going to mount to. The front is where our sway bar mounts to. So this is front, this is the back. Again, like this. And we're just going to push the pin through, just the same as the front. And then to hold it in place, we just use our little coarse threaded screws with the 1.5mm driver head. So again, don't over tighten those, they don't need to be tight, there's no pressure on them. The only thing you're going to do if you try and over tighten it is pull the thread out of the plastic, and you don't want to be doing that. Same for the other side. Okay. Alright, next we're going to just put in the grub screws for the shocks. So that's going to be these little guys here, the smaller of the grub screws. Well, smaller diameter, they're 3mm. I think they're 3x8s by the looks of them. And what we're going to do is screw them into the back of the arm where the shock's going to mount. Now this is another time when you want to do the turning 90 degrees each time. So we started off, and then we're going to turn it 90, and we're going to check that it's going in straight, and it's not. So we'll straighten it a little bit, just pull it over and straighten it. Then we'll look from the other 90, it's going in nice and straight now to the arm. Again, just check 90, 90, and then once it's away, you've got no problems. Now it's saying that we want 2.5mm of protrusion out the back. Quick way to do it, just grab your 2.5mm driver and just lay it up against it, and I can see that that's almost exactly 2.5mm. It's not super critical, that measurement. It's not like droop or something like that. And that's pretty much in exactly 2.5mm, or 2.5mm sticking out. Alright, do the same to the front, and then we'll move on to droop screws and getting these arms on the car. Okay, so what we've got to do now is just install our outer hinge pins. I've already gone and done it, or fitted the hubs to the other 3 arms. Very straightforward. We just need our smaller hinge pin. They're the same length, front and rear. This is the rear of the car. That's where our shock is going to mount. It doesn't particularly matter in this circumstance anyway, but basically we're just going to put this pin through here, and it should find the other side. Just push it down on the bench if it needs a little bit of extra force, and then we're just using one of these little grub screws with the coarse thread. It has a 1.5mm driver. So just tighten that up. These do not need to be super duper tight, okay? So just nip it up. It's not going to go anywhere. There's no load trying to push the pin out or anything like that. And then we should have a nice freely moving hub assembly. So go ahead and do the same thing to the